To provide some background, we've been married for 10 years, but things didn't start off well. I made a lot of mistakes, and she once tried to cheat on me to show me how it felt. 2 years ago, while I was working in another state for the summer, she filed for divorce. During that time, I had a one-night stand but later decided I wanted to save our marriage for the sake of our kids. I came clean about a lot of things, but I didn't mention the affair. I know I was wrong, and months later, when she almost found out, I lied to cover it up. Despite this, I thought we were making progress in our relationship, although I carried the guilt. Last year, I joined the military and began training, which has kept me away from home for months. Including time away for work, I've only been home for about a month total since April of last year. During training, I learned a lot about integrity and realized that if I wanted to rebuild our marriage, I needed to confess my affair. My plan was to tell her after training so I could support her as best as possible, knowing how much it would hurt her. I understood I'd have to let her decide if she wanted to continue our relationship. When I went home for Christmas break, I noticed how much she had grown and changed in my absence. She started going to the gym, gained a lot of confidence, took care of the kids full-time, pursued a degree, and just became an all-around amazing person. She met a woman at the gym who became her best friend. They spent a lot of time together, working out, talking for hours after the gym, and hanging out. She told me this friend was someone she connected with deeply and would have in her life forever. A little more context. We grew up Mormon, but I left the church 4 years into our marriage. She struggled with that, especially when it came to things like drinking. She almost divorced me again last summer because I was drinking a lot with work friends, so I stopped because I prioritized my marriage and kids. Then, a few weeks later, she told me she had gone out with her friend, got drunk, and didn't see it as a big deal. I was upset by the hypocrisy, but I tried to stay supportive since it felt like she was meeting me on my level for once. Fast forward to Christmas break. She invited me to her friend's house to drink and have fun. We went, and it was a good time. I drank too much and passed out on their couch. A week later, they came to our house to drink, and the same thing happened. I drank too much and went to bed early. That night, I sent a few Snapchat messages of my bottle to some friends, including people I've worked with in the past, both men and women. There was no history of flirting or anything inappropriate with these women. I just thought nothing of it. Later, she went through my phone and found those snaps. On the drive to drop me off at my parents' house before I returned to training, she confronted me. She asked if I was cheating, and I explained everything about the snaps, naming everyone and being honest that it wasn't anything with bad intentions. She still wasn't okay with it and had me delete Snapchat on the spot. Then she brought up the woman I'd had the affair with, the one she hadn't known about, and asked if there was anything I needed to tell her. I decided to come clean and told her everything. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. She was understandably devastated. Being away in training while dealing with the guilt and pain I caused her made me feel like the worst person imaginable. At first, things were very strained. She barely spoke to me, and I felt terrible for hurting her so deeply. Over time, though, she started to talk to me more. When she drank at home, she would say she missed me and loved me, but when sober, it was mostly coldness and little communication. She asked me to reach out to her friend to check on her, specifically to see how she was doing and if she might be suicidal. All I could do was worry every day during training, and it was unbearable. A few days ago, my wife texted me saying she was having a bad day and was deep in her feelings, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. The next day, I followed up, and she told me her friend was mad at her. It turned out that the first night we went to their house, when I passed out on the couch, the husband had gone up to my wife and grabbed her breast. She felt shocked and violated, unsure of what to do. She told her friend about the incident over 2 weeks later, and the friend was hurt that she hadn't said anything sooner. My wife was now feeling terrible because her best friend was treating her poorly, and their relationship was strained. A couple of days later, I told my wife I was going to confront the husband about what happened. I wanted to make it clear to him that his actions were unacceptable, though part of me also wanted to beat him up, but he's twice my size. What made it worse is that my wife had me go to the gym with him after the incident and even try to befriend him, which I now find incomprehensible. When my wife told her friend I planned to confront the husband, it made things even worse. Her friend sent her hurtful messages, calling her a terrible friend. Eventually, my wife blocked her and said I should text the husband, confront him, and then block them both. I messaged him, and he apologized, but something about the situation felt off, so I didn't block them right away. Not long after, the friend reached out to me. She told me that not everyone in this situation was innocent, and that I needed to get the full story from my wife. She revealed that she and my wife had made out a few times and even fingered each other, apparently at my wife's request. She claimed my wife had begged to watch them have sex over FaceTime and had repeatedly said she was in love with her. The friend also sent me a screenshot that seemed to imply this, though it looked out of context. I wanted to wait until I was home from training to confront my wife about it, but the information ate away at me. Last night, I finally asked her. At first, she only admitted to making out with her friend. I had to press her repeatedly to get the full truth, and the more I asked, the more details came out. She wasn't planning on telling me anything. She eventually admitted that they made out twice, both times while I was in basic military training and had little to no contact with her. She said she was curious and wanted to see what it was like, claiming it was just something girls do, and insisting she wasn't interested in dating women. One time, they made out while the husband was touching the friend. The second time was in a hot tub while the husband watched from outside. Alcohol was involved both times. Looking back, I realized there were signs I missed. When she came to my graduation, she seemed distant, like she wasn't fully present. Even in the photos we took together, something felt off, and my gut had been telling me for a long time that something wasn't right. She admitted she wasn't planning on telling me any of this. It only came out because of what the husband did to her. Now, I'm at tech school, feeling sick to my stomach. After our conversation, I had to talk her out of suicidal thoughts, which was incredibly difficult because I couldn't be there for her in person. I have no one to talk to about this except my therapist, but our next session isn't for another week. I needed to get this off my chest, so I decided to post on Reddit.